In today's gaming news, we get a look at the Evolve solo experience, Dragon's Dogma Online is revealed, and Nintendo wants your money, YouTubers. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is Force here with your day's gaming news. First up today, we'll be taking a sneak peek at the Evolve single-player gameplay mode. Wait, that's a thing? The evacuation campaign can be played entirely offline and solo. In this game mode, you can either play as the monster who must take out generators and the evacuation ship, or as the hunters who you can free swap between to try to secure objectives and take out the monster. So this is basically going to be a way for people to practice their skills as the monster or as the different character classes. I actually had no idea that this was even a thing, so this is really nice. And the other thing is too, this is an offline mode, so you don't even have to be connected to the internet. So if you're someone who wanted to play this game, but you don't have a lot of friends to play with typically, or maybe you just don't like multiplayer gameplay, this gives you, I guess, a taste of it. Although it's probably not worth the $60 if you were just gonna play the single player portion of this. But again, it's a nice way to practice things. Check out that video so you can see what it's like for yourself. Next up, we had the reveal of Dragon's Dogma Online. Dragon's Dogma Online allows you to adventure and slay monsters in the Dragon's Dogma universe in parties of up to 4 players. The game will feature social hubs, such as towns, where you can meet up with others and prepare for your adventures. The game will be coming to PlayStation consoles as well as the PC, however, no Western release is currently planned. And a collective sigh of disappointment was released. That's very disappointing. I have never played Dragon's Dogma, but I actually have heard pretty darn good things about it. And it's a title that I hoped to eventually play. So then to hear that they were gonna release like a multiplayer version, I guess it's sort of an MMO, but not really. It'll function, I guess, like Destiny, where there's the social hubs like the tower, and then you go out in small parties into the world and you do a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's disappointing. What are you doing? Why is localization so damn hard? I just want to play all the games. Let me play all the games. Except for Nintendo games because they want to take my money. Nintendo has just revealed its Creators Program, allowing YouTubers to, quote, receive a part of the advertising proceeds for your Nintendo-related YouTube content. The program's beta is offering 60% on individual videos or 70% for enrolling your entire channel as a content creator, with Nintendo getting the remaining 40 to 30%. It's worth noting as well that that percent can change at any given time. If Nintendo all of a sudden decides that they want to receive 70% of the ad revenue, they can just do it, and there's no say that you have whatsoever. So we're gonna get into this for a minute. You know, there's always a lot of discussion around this topic as to whether or not there is value to what the YouTubers do. And I want to prove to you definitively that there is value. Now, certainly, part of it's coming from the video game, and many people would argue that a majority of it's coming from the video game, but I don't even necessarily know that that's true for most of the content that gets produced. What I want you to do is I want you to go to the YouTube search bar and type in any Nintendo game. Just pick one, doesn't matter. So if you type in Super Mario Brothers, you'll probably find videos as low as a couple hundred views. And then you'll find other videos as high as probably a couple of million views. Now, what is the difference between those two videos? Well, one could be related to timing, because sometimes if you put up videos prior to a game's release, because so many people want to see that game, it doesn't matter what it is, they'll watch it. But anything after the release of a game, the discrepancy in views from a video that has a single digit to a couple hundred views to the videos that have millions of views is entirely based on what the content creator did with that video, how they made it interesting, be it entertaining or informative. There is undoubtedly value to what it is that people like myself do. But we don't even need to have that conversation. We don't need to argue about what we think about that. My opinion, your opinion, it really doesn't matter. The truth of the matter is that the money comes from the numbers. And when the content creators make an interesting or informative video that gets millions of views, as opposed to any old video that someone throws up that gets hundreds of views, there's a lot more value in that higher number because of what the content creator did to it. This is basically Nintendo punishing people who make content for their games by giving them a crappy revenue split and saying at any time we could change this if we felt like it. And here's what bugs me about this. This doesn't even affect me. I don't really care. I don't cover Nintendo games, and I'm never going to in the future because they're going to be taking a higher split than my MCN does right now. What bugs me about this is that for Nintendo, this is going to be, depending on the size of the channel, a couple of hundred to maybe a couple of thousand extra dollars a month for a channel. For Nintendo, that's not a big deal. That's not a lot of money. That's probably paying for paper for one of their offices or something, like quite legitimately. But for an individual content creator, that can mean the difference between this being a full-time job and them having to do something else, because time is money. And as we've talked about in the past, if you can't make a living doing this, then you're gonna have to go make a living doing something else, as long as you're an adult who has to pay bills. So basically, if you don't live with your parents, you're gonna need to do something to generate income, because that's part of being an adult in this current society that we live in. You need money to survive. So for Nintendo to say we want to take this money from these content creators and potentially make their lives so much more difficult to pay for some paper in one of our offices, it's really baffling to me. And how I think this could be better approached, if you were to ask me, is if Nintendo wants money off of this, maybe they should look to Google. Or maybe they should talk to MCNs and say, we want a portion of your cut that you're getting. But to affect the content creators, potentially for a significant amount of money for them as individual people, for this giant corporation to just get a little bit of extra money, it's a drop in the bucket to the amount of money that they make all the time. It's frustrating. Like, I could go on about this for a very, very long time, and there's a whole bunch of different angles to cover. But I really think at the end of the day, this is just very, very unfortunate for Nintendo YouTube content creators. It's gonna hit them right in the pocket, and it's gonna make their lives a lot more stressful. And this isn't gonna pull Nintendo out of the hole that they might be in if this is really where they're trying to dig for extra sources of income. So they're really just making it harder on dedicated content creators for their brand. And that just, to me, it seems short-sighted. It really does seem very, very short-sighted of them, but that's just my opinion. And I think it's also a wake-up call for any aspiring or current YouTube content creators that this, like anything in life, is temporary. And us being able to make a living off of YouTube is probably not gonna last forever. I'd bet my bottom dollar that it's not gonna last forever. So you better have a nest egg, you better have a backup plan. I myself, I'll be fine. I'm an intelligent, talented individual. There are many things that I'm fully capable of doing for making a living for myself and supporting my family. So when and if this falls through, probably when, I'll move on to something else. I believe in myself. And I hope you believe in yourself too, because looks like you're gonna need to. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for today's episode of The Force Feed. Sorry for going on a bit of a rant, but this is something that I thought I should dive into and maybe give you guys a little bit of insight from my perspective and from a content creator's perspective. So thanks so much for watching. Please chime in on any of the topics discussed here today in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, guys. Once again, this has been Force, and you have just been force-fed. Frankly, if this all goes bottom up, I'm not worried. There's so many things I could do. I could get a career in, dancing. I got dance moves. What about this? Is this a move? Oh wait, there's a sprinkler. Wait, that's not it. How do you do it? There we go. Is that right? See? I'll be fine. I can dance. Or I could sing. Whoa!